Back on the hunt for another crazy dictator, Rico has brought his particular brand of chaos to one more island in Just Cause 3. But is it worth your time to visit this oppressed little paradise? Let's find out. Just Cause 3 takes place on the fictional island of Medici, which just happens to be the hometown of series protagonist Rico. Turns out the place is a hotspot for a mineral known as bavarium, which can be processed into high-powered explosives, near-limitless fuel, and so on. Desperate to keep this thing out of the wrong hands, and to save his home, Rico must now liberate the island from one Sebastian Di Ravello by blowing up anything and everything that has red stripes on it. This game seems somewhat aware that you're probably not going to be playing for the story, delivering eccentric characters and just enough humor to keep any particular scene from getting too overbearing. It fits the tone and the core appeal the series has established for itself so far very well, but still functionally serves as just a means to give context to your next ridiculous upgrade. The real meat of this series has always been about giving you a bunch of toys that interact with the world in potentially humorous ways, and letting you make your own fun with them. For instance, you could just fire a rocket launcher at something you want to destroy. Or you could tether said something to the front of a car, plant a few explosives to the trunk, reel them together, and then watch the fun. Why would you do this when you can get the same result in much less time by using your gun? Well, because you can. And the game gives you plenty of leeway to screw around even in the middle of combat by giving Rico a pretty generous amount of health to work with. You could just tear apart this military installation bit by bit with your submachine gun, but doesn't it sound much more awesome to hijack that conveniently placed attack helicopter in the middle of the base and go nuts with its missiles? These kinds of systems can lead to some pretty amazing moments, but it can also leave you disappointed when things don't go according to plan. Medici is like one big exploding canvas that mixes twitch reflex gameplay with the desire to blow things up in the most impressively impractical ways possible, and there are dozens of different ways to have fun with. Just when you start running out of ideas, however, you realize there are plenty of new tools waiting to be unlocked via the game's side missions. These can entail anything from racing an exploding vehicle to a target location, to an accuracy-based gliding challenge straight out of Arkham Knight. Doing well in these lets you get new stuff, which lets you complete story missions more easily, which unlocks new side missions, rinse and repeat. Your mileage with this will definitely vary depending on how sick of open world games you are, but at least Just Cause 3 didn't make its world so ridiculously large that actually getting to any of these missions is a hassle. It always feels like something different is within a stone's throw of you, and when you get sick of one activity, you can easily switch to something new in a heartbeat. Just be sure to make every attempt count, because while the map itself won't slow you down, the loading times when you start a new mission will. Optimization seems to be a problem for this game, because these screens tend to linger longer than they should. In fact, I had one that stayed up there for literal minutes while it tried to load a destruction mission. I'll just leave that running in the corner so you can see in real time how long it took. While this only happened to me once, it was during some of my earlier play hours, and apparently several people have run into this issue across multiple platforms, so just keep in mind that it might affect you too. Just Cause 3 also implements an interesting concept on online competition. You could just be gliding around minding your own business when suddenly it tells you that you've been gliding longer than all of these random people, watching as your username climbs the ranks. This game compares stats for all kinds of weird activities, such as most altitude gained during a single parachute deployment, or most bullets pumped into the same enemy consecutively, and it will tell you just how well your record stacks up against other people from around the world. Personally, I found this strangely compelling, despite the fact that overtaking people on the leaderboards doesn't unlock a thing. It just feels good to climb a really tall tower and wingsuit off of it, trying to stay airborne longer than that guy who beat your record 2 hours ago. It builds on the fun that can be had from messing around in an open world just for the sake of it. But here's my question. Against what odds am I being graded here exactly? None of these people are on my friends list, and I seriously doubt, even just a few days after launch, that I'm in the top 10 people who have figured out how to chain an absurd amount of explosions together. It lacks context, which takes a little away from understanding just how well you really stack up. But despite that, all in all, I think Just Cause 3 is pretty good. Narratively and mechanically, it's an open-world game built around what most of us eventually default to in these kinds of games anyway. In fact, the online component practically encourages it. It's one of those things where you'll get out of this game what you put in, so if all you want to do is be as efficient as possible, chances are you're gonna get bored. If you have the creative mind necessary to try and tether parachutists right out of the sky, however, or see who would win in a collision contest between a rocket-propelled jeep and a tank, you'll probably enjoy what Just Cause 3 has to offer much, much more. So pick it up on PC, PS4, or Xbox One, and viva la revolution! Hey guys, if you want to see this game in motion, I'm now uploading supplementary video to my gameplay channel, Team Pizza Plays, that show non-stop chunks of gameplay as opposed to the more controlled and cherry-picked review format. Hopefully I can help you make an even more informed decision that way, so if you like this new direction, be sure to let me know with a comment or a quick click of the like button. I also do things on this channel other than reviews, such as this video on my top 8 electronic songs in gaming, so check it out if that seems like your thing. Also, follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Why? Just cuz. And please be sure to subscribe so you can catch reviews just like this one in the very near future. Until then, I'm Whatthefnu. Later, everybody!